Hi everyone, you reach Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. For all of you out there, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. Hit the like button, chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. And share my video with your friends and family so that they can come to my channel and get to know me also. I'm here today with a quick video on Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. Listen, in case you don't want to get through this whole video, let me tell you from the onset of the video, I'm not Team Nicki, I'm not Team Cardi B. I am team these two ladies getting together, having a meeting of the minds, or maybe agreeing to disagree and moving on, and no longer continuing in social media on their platforms, because both of these young ladies, they are influencing millions of people, millions of young ladies that are looking at them, that look up to them, and they have, the opportunity to show the greater good, so to speak, to show these young ladies that you can have a disagreement with somebody in your sector and still get along, do your business, and have a good life. So everything I looked up, everything started with Cardi B and Nicki Minaj back in 2017. And when I dug and dug and dug, I'm like, what is the real issue here? There is no real issue, but that's according to me. I get it. Everybody has their feelings, but nobody's mother got hurt. Nobody's child got hurt. And I'm saying to myself, are you two ladies really fighting over, subliminal messages and what you thought happened but may not really have happened? Could you two be friends? Could you two actually make music and money together and get all of these opportunities that are out there? But because instead you two are just going back and forth and there's others that's helping to keep this feud going, are you missing out on a bigger opportunity? In my opinion, yes. And the reason why I decided to do this video is because most recently, Quavo and Takeoff from the Migos, I don't know if that group is still together, and maybe after this interview they did on Junk Trance, they will no longer get back together, because I know they took a little hiatus here and there. But they were asked a question by the person interviewing them, like, whose team are you on? Are you Team Nicki Minaj or are you Team Cardi B? So initially, those two, they were Team Cardi B, right? Because they were in a group with Cardi B's husband, Offset. But I guess time has passed. Bad blood has happened between that group. And so now they're claiming to be Team Nicki Minaj. And listen, either way, I really don't care. But I think that they had the perfect opportunity when they was asked that question. No matter how they feel about Offset, no matter how bad and fractured that group relationship is at this moment, they had a good opportunity to say either one, I would rather not answer, or two, you know what? I'm team that these two young ladies knock it off, get it together, work out their differences, agree to disagree, and just move on already. Because this has been going on since 2017. The Cardi B and Nicki Minaj thing kind of started when Cardi B did this 1-minute video on her Instagram. She was rapping, she was saying a little something, and then someone in the comments wrote dumbass lyrics and whatever else they wrote. It appeared to be that this account owned by Nicki Minaj liked the comment. People lost their natural mind. You know how once something happens, if somebody can help feed the fire, so to speak, they will do it. So, once somebody pointed that out and started retweeting, I'm sure Cardi B was in her feelings, because I would have been in my feelings too. Like, oh my God, like, Nicki, what do you have against me that you would call my lyrics dumb, right? But it started there and it kept going on this kind of roller coaster ride from that point on. There was a time period where Nicki Minaj, she congratulated Cardi B when Bodak Yellow just went wild. It went #1. And Cardi B, thanked her, saying that, you know what, coming from you, that means a lot. And then, when Cardi B was pregnant, I think with her first child, they met up at the Met Gala, and it appeared as if those two were at least cordial to each other, talking to each other. But then hence comes Fashion Week, and there's a big melee between those two, and there's pictures of Cardi B with this big nugget on her head from some, interaction that Cardi B's camp and Nicki Minaj camp has had, right? And so rap music, according to the world, has this negative definition, right? And the definition of rap music is it's for a long time it has been known as a form of music that represents violence, sexual exploitation, consumption of drugs and alcohol, sex, and negative attitudes towards women, right? And so when you have any group, just not let alone just Nicki Minaj and Cardi B, when you have any group that gives the world material that feeds into this negative definition of rap, it doesn't help. And so if you are a person in the rap music industry, you would think that they would have an interest in trying to show the world that that definition you attach to rap music is not what it is. It's about poetry. It's about something else. It's about this. It's about our struggles, that we go through as a community. But when you help feed into the negative definition by plucking at each other, beefing at each other, cursing at each other, having violence and all kinds of sexual exploitation in your videos, it doesn't help. And so why should that matter? It matters because the rap music has fought for so long to get into some of the categories of these different award shows. I don't want to go down that wicked path now. That can be a whole nother video in and of itself. But I want to say this. Beefs between artists is nothing new. Okay, it happened back in my day of listening to rap music. And I'm going to take you way back. And some of you be like, what are you talking about, right? There was two female rap artists called, one was called The Real Roxanne, and the other one was called Roxanne Shante, right? And so I just want to load my phone here because it keeps buzzing. So one was called The Real Roxanne and the other one's called Roxanne Shante. The way that they handled their differences was each party would go into their studio and kind of put out their rap, their song, so to speak, right? And then we, as the audience and fans, you would have to wait to listen to it on the radio. Wasn't all those streaming services back then, right? So you would have to wait to hear the song on the radio, and you would be driving or you would be whatever, and you'd be like, oh my God, The Real Roxanne put out a diss against Roxanne Shante. And then you would, next thing you know, you would hear the diss back from Roxanne Shante. And it kind of went back and forth like that. And then at some point, those two will come together, make a song together and call it, a rap, like our beef is over. This has happened, with those two ladies. And there's several others, but I'm only going to point out just a couple, right? And then unfortunately, we had the beef between Biggie and Tupac. If you look into history, many people told you initially those two were friends. And then there's all of these other people got in the midst of their friendship, kind of was throwing shots, right? It started out as simple as, you see how that simple, comment under Cardi B's video, and then what people thought was Nicki Minaj liking the comment. You see how it ignited a whole feud? The same thing with Biggie and Tupac, many said, that those two were friends. It took one person to say, oh, Tupac, Biggie said this about you. And then Tupac says something about Biggie. And then it explodes into this whole big day thing. And then unfortunately, those two are no longer with us, right? Two really great artists that should be here to this moment making music, but they're not, over something so ridiculous and simple, right? And then the one that actually turned out pretty nice, and there's several others, but the Jay-Z and Nas situation, right? If you go back and you look at those two feuds, right, they was going at it back and forth. And, I want to say Nas' diss response was Ether, and I forgot the name of Jay-Z response, right? But they both did tracks against each other, right? And to kind of like to kind of like do their like the to kind of have their beef against each other, right? And then finally I think those two ended up coming together, right? They resolved their situation, and I will say this, both of them agreed to never do their diss songs live again. Now we could both pull them up, we could still stream them, we could still hear them, but this is how grown men, how they resolved this, right? They ended up coming together. They ended up doing a show together. And Jay-Z said, you know, he was wrong for what he put out about Nas. Nas said he was wrong for what he put out about Jay-Z. They came together and they both agreed that never again live will they do, if they do a tour and do a show, their diss songs will never be a part of that tour and a part of that show. So I talked a lot, right? And I want to close out by saying this. I'm not team Nicki Minaj. I'm not team Cardi B. I'm team these two getting along, resolving their issues, and getting back together. Now, I don't want to go down this path, but if you remember Rodney King and everything that happened with him, and if you don't, kind of look it up. But this saying he said, I absolutely love. And he said, can't we all just get along? And that's what I want for Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. And I also want people to stop picking a side, right? And because once you pick a side, you feel you have to defend that side, right? And then you start pulling all these things as to why Nicki's right. If you're team Nicki, and if you're team Cardi B, you start pulling all these things as to why Cardi B is correct. How about we just pull a neutral ground and say, you know what? Both of them have good points. Both of them, you know, have their reasons for being upset. But why don't we do the greater good so that we all can get along and pray that these two resolve their issues? And their agreement could be that, you know what, let's agree to disagree, but let's also agree that we will no longer handle our beef, our mess in the public eye, in social media, not just for us, but because we have influence over millions and millions of people, and that can either bring peace or it can bring war, right? And I think when we have to tell the world to pick a side, pick a team, that brings war. And at the end of the day, in war, even though winners are being declared in a war, no one actually ever wins, right? Millions of people are hurt by the time a war is over. Millions of people are destroyed. And sometimes it takes everybody to recover after a war. Listen, guys, thanks for listening. Chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. Don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see y'all in the next video.